Respect for Gordon. Gordon always enjoyed proudly pulling the mighty express. Gordon thought he was the strongest, fastest, and cleanest engine on the whole railway. But one thing bothered him. His firebox rattled as it cooled down at night. Gordon knew that his rattle kept the other engines awake. That night, Gordon's firebox went click-clunk, click-clunk, click-clunk. Thomas and Percy thought it was very funny. "Rattler Gordon's keeping us all awake," peeped Percy. "The only engines keeping other engines awake," said Gordon, "are little engines with very bad manners." But secretly, he felt rather embarrassed. The next morning, Percy teased Gordon again. "Rattlebox is awake at last," he peeped. Gordon ignored Percy. He did not like being called names. "I'm the strongest and the best," Gordon huffed to himself. "Strongest and best, strongest and best, cleanest and fastest, and pulls the express." He wished the other engines would remember that. Later, Gordon pulled into Knapford Station. "Oh, look," laughed Rosie. "Rattler Gordon's here. He's pulling the Click-Clunk Express." This made Gordon very cross indeed, especially since Diesel overheard. "I hope your rattle gets better soon," oiled Diesel. "See you later, Rattler." Gordon was very cross indeed. He decided it was high time that the engines treated him properly. So later at the water tower, he pulled up in front of Edward. "Rude," Edward thought to himself. At Knapford, Percy had brought Gordon's coaches to number 1 platform. "Off you go now, Percy," Gordon huffed. "Number 1 is my platform. Little engines should hang around." "You're a boastful, bossy, big blue boiler," Percy muttered to himself crassly. That afternoon, Gordon asked the other engines to give a polite toot-toot whenever they saw him. "But why?" asked Thomas. He was very puzzled. "Because," said Gordon, "I'm the fastest and the best." "You can toot at him all you like," said James, "but I'm not going to." "Don't be rude," said Emily. "Gordon just wants some respect for all the hard work he does." "Shut up," said James. "I can say whatever I want. No one asked you." Gordon steamed across the island. He felt very pleased with himself. He was sure the other engines would forget his clunk-click and treat him properly. Just then he saw James coming. He listened for his toot-toot, but James didn't toot at all. This made Gordon very cross indeed. He was so cross that he didn't see the goods train ahead until it was too late. Luckily, no one was hurt. But Gordon had come off the rails and was covered in pitch-black tar and greasy oil. As Gordon waited to be put back on the rails, Percy arrived. "Hello, Gordon," peeped Percy. "I see you're not the cleanest engine anymore." Then James arrived. "I don't think you'll be pulling the express for a while, Gordon," laughed James. And finally finally Thomas arrived. Gordon's a mess, he's the largest and oiliest, puffed Thomas cheekily. At last Gordon was back on the rails. He felt very foolish indeed. Edward pushed him to the fitter's yard. Gordon was at the fitter's yard for a long time. It was tough getting the tar out of his engine. While Gordon was away, Emily and Henry took in turns to pull the express for him. One evening at Tidmouth Henry huffed, "It's hard work pulling the express." "Yes," agreed Emily. "Gordon must be very strong to pull the express." "I miss Gordon," peeped Percy. "I miss hearing his rattle to go to sleep by." Gordon knew the other engines were pulling the express for him. "Thank goodness for Emily and Henry," he sighed. "I'm sure they're doing a very good job." A few months later, Gordon was as good as new. The workmen had even managed to fix the rattle in his firebox. That evening, Gordon had something to say. "Is it about being the fastest and the best?" teased James. "Not at all," huffed Gordon. "I know my rattle kept you awake at night, and I'm sorry. And I was also silly about the toot-toots. I realize that engines toot other engines because they work hard and deserve it, not because they ask for it." "But we think you do deserve it, Gordon," said Thomas, "and we all think that you're a really useful engine." All of the other engines agreed. Now all of the engines greet each other with a polite toot-toot for all the hard work they do on Sir Topham Hatt's railway.
He's the cheeky one. James is